Well, hey everybody, welcome to the Two-Thirds Podcast. I hope you're doing well, and if you aren't doing well, I'm sorry, and if you hate me, I don't hope you're doing well, and I hope that... I'm just kidding, I can't be that mean. Today's episode, we're talking about a lot of things. If you saw the title, it is an amalgamation of interesting things. It's really just Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and really anything nerdy. If you haven't caught on, that's really kind of the only things that we're into, is nerdy things. But really, honestly, you could be nerdy about anything, and that's a podcast in and of itself that I may do one day. Also, I want to apologize for how tinny the recording sounds right now. I'm currently in between getting equipment for recording, so I'm just recording my intro straight from my computer, so that's happening. And then also, that's it. So yeah, today we have a special guest. We have our good friend Kathryn on the show with us, and we're really excited about that. We love when we can get other people involved and hear what they think, and it gives me an opportunity to shut up because I need to do that sometimes. So Leanne, Shane, and I went and hung out with Kathryn and just talked about all sorts of things, and in the middle of all of that wound up talking about Lord of the Rings, which is really cool. So yeah, so Kathryn, you get to know her and hear how much Lord of the Rings stuff she knows. Like, she knows a boatload, and it is ridiculous. Like, it's like 10 boats. So many boats. You need a boatyard to hold all the things that Kathryn knows about Lord of the Rings. So, yeah. Also, her dad, Jack, who is a really good friend of mine, he contributes here and there. He kind of shows up. And then, just part of the course, Oscar shows up in the middle of not in the middle, at the end of the episode, and it's just a good old time just at the Two-Thirds Podcast. So sit back, take a listen, and enjoy the nerdiness that's about to begin, because it's a lot. So here we go.
Guitar, Jeremy.
Oh, wait. Yeah, sorry. Okay, screwed it up. See, now Leanne doesn't want to do it, now that it's an organized thing. You were doing the clap.
You just want me to clap? That's awesome.
That was too hot.
Too hot.
Too
Hot
hot.
Damn.
Call the police and fireman. Such
Whoa.
a good song.
Whoa.
What?
That was a joke. You bring in your legit.
I'm sorry, I sing well. I'm sorry.
We'll hope that's how a podcast starts. Good. What happened to your foot?
I'm old. I legit don't know what happened to my foot.
You just
Like,
said
my
legit.
ankle just, I know. My ankle just started swelling. Okay, no, but here's what actually happened to my foot.
So you're
I'm
too
just-
swole, basically?
I'm gonna be, I'm too swole. I'm just gonna be really honest with you.
Okay.
I went on a really long walk with Cody. Okay, it wasn't that long. It was like maybe 2 miles. And I pulled the tendon in my ankle.
Did he carry you
And
home?
then, it started hurting like the next day. And then, it went away. It got better. And then, like, a few days ago, my ankle swelled and started hurting again in the exact same spot. And I don't know what I did. Because I hadn't worked out in a few days, and I didn't go on a walk or anything. I'm just, like, falling apart, man.
Well, luckily you're not going to be doing any major walking in the next couple of weeks, like down an aisle or anything.
No,
That
yeah,
really sucks.
walking down the beach or anything like that. No, it's good. It's okay, it just hurts.
So your
to wear
favorite color is
shoes.
not green?
No.
Even though you have a green rag, green toenails,
What?
a green
They're
shirt.
blue.
That's
I have-
green!
I have pink fingernails.
That's good. Don't avoid the subject. Your toenails are green.
They're totally
They're green.
blue.
I can't really tell from here.
They're blue.
I can tell from here they're
so
green.
blue.
Yeah,
They're green.
It's more of a blue than it is a green.
Oh my gosh.
I would
Oh!
Yeah, it's kind of blue.
To be fair, what she had said earlier was that green looks good on her.
Oh, I forgot that.
I'm
Yeah.
a ginger.
Yeah.
I look good in green.
I asked
Yeah.
a question you refuted and I stopped listening. So you're saying leprechauns look really good?
In green, yeah.
Do leprechauns have
What
thick
they
thighs?
wear?
They've got beards.
Oh gosh.
Um,
That's why I'm not attracted to leprechauns. They have small thighs.
They do proportionately though.
No.
But like, think about the typical like proportions of a leprechaun. If you like stretch them out to normal human size, they look really weird, right?
They would.
Yeah.
Like 5 feet of him would just be his abdomen,
Yep.
right?
That's true.
5 feet of him?
Yeah. Like stretch him out to a 6 foot tall person.
Okay.
5 feet of him
His
would
legs
be his
would be
abdomen.
like a foot long.
Like 4 feet still. I don't know.
Huge.
You know what they say about leprechauns?
I guess I don't
Wait, what?
I guess I
Big
don't
pots of
understand.
gold.
I guess I just don't understand how proportions work, because every time I think about proportions, like the whole Ant-Man thing, he's like,
Yeah,
his
he
strength is
can-
proportionate to an ant,
And he
or
can
whatever, or however
get
it's phrased.
64 times as big, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just
Huh.
know that he can shrink and get
That's
big.
the end of Ant-Man, though, right? He's gonna get like super big.
Is he?
Like he grows at the
He's
end of
gonna get
Ant-Man?
super big and destroy a city.
No.
That would be amazing.
He's gonna.
How would that be a
I
thing?
really don't want him to be...
So basically, it's gonna be the Superman movie.
What is his name? What is the guy in the giant...
Paul Rudd.
The giant that gets killed in Civil War?
I think it's just like
Is his name
Oh
Gargantuan?
shoot!
or like type.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I
he's the
remember
Indian
it.
guy.
He's black.
I thought. Oh, no, that's right. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. No, I remember now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Justice League.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Native American guy.
Oh, that. And then he gets
Yeah.
really big. Yeah. The Indian dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Who are you, by the way? If you want to introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
Kathryn.
I was like,
We're really bad at this.
Leah, do you know who I am?
Uh,
Whoops.
I'm just
But yeah.
seeing that happen, like, realistically. He just goes into someone's house, he's like, by the way, just sits on the couch and, like, by the way, who are you?
I mean, do I not do that, really? Like, who are you? Honestly.
It's a deep
Who are
question.
you?
I'm an amalgamation of everyone I've ever met.
Wow. That was deep. Whoa.
I've noticed something
Bring
about
the
Shane. I don't know if
philosophy.
everyone else has, but every year he has like a certain few set of words that he uses a bunch.
Amalgamation!
Like, so he uses amalgamation and solid
Let's say you better say
this
something.
year. He says
Dude.
solid.
Yes.
Like 4 years ago, patronize.
Oh my
yeah!
God.
Patronize!
Patronize was a word that
So true.
he could not stop using.
Absolutely.
Except the problem was, like, you didn't really understand what it
I
meant.
still kind of don't.
You don't?
He just didn't understand.
Oh, man.
Well, what does it mean then?
I did have to look it up the other day. I don't remember
You
that. I do
can't
know
look
You
it
had
up
to put
though.
me in the spot.
No,
I do
well,
know
oh, you
one-
don't?
One part
You
of
don't know what it means?
One part of it does have to do with like being a patron of something. Like if you go to
Mm.
a certain place all the time, you patronize them, but it's actually good.
Doesn't it mean you're, like, buttering someone up?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam, knowledge.
I'm buttering a patron.
You're buttering the patron with raw butter.
Absolutely. Paleo.
It's paleo.
Where does butter come from?
It's milk.
You really want me to explain this?
But why does it become like shouldn't
You
okay?
literally stir the milk until the cream comes on top and solidifies.
But listen, like what? Why when I melt butter, does it not become milk?
Because it's 90-something% fat.
Oh,
There's,
butter's
like-
very fatty.
There's almost no lactose left in it. Same thing with cheese. It's like
Lactose,
almost
aka
completely
milk.
fat. Yeah, it's almost completely fat.
So you can't say it's milk. Then what is it?
It's the fat part of milk.
It's like
It's
when
not lard.
It's like when you. It's like with peanuts when the oil separates from peanuts.
Yeah.
You get peanut butter.
The butter or the yeah. Yeah, it's what separates
So
from
it's
milk.
it's a like milk is an amalgamation of all of the elements, and cheese and butter are just different.
On Good Mythical Morning, they did
Okay.
make these butter turning shoes, and they actually worked.
Let me
That's
say
awesome.
this though.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
2015 is the year of amalgamation, though, right?
What?
Wait, what? Why?
Wow.
2015 is the year of amalgamation.
Explain.
Age of Ultron.
Oh.
Okay, so the year that Avengers came out, could that be the year of amalgamation?
No, that was the year of
I
patronization.
don't know. He's got a pretty good point
I do.
with Age of Ultron.
I like having Kathryn around.
That movie
Like,
makes
she
the
just
year
likes
Age
to
of
agree.
Amalgamation.
I'm
I feel
so
like the year
agreeable, right?
2019 with Infinity War will be the year of
No,
amalgamation.
that'll be the year.
That's true. That's true. You got
How else is it? What
I'm just
else
gonna
makes
agree
it
with
that?
everyone.
Uh,
right?
the fact that the days between January 1st and December 31st amalgamate to create the year. I know. I got so excited to finish. I get anytime I like mispronounce a word, it's because I'm too excited to finish the sentence.
I do that too.
It's like the words in the middle don't matter, and I always try to see if it'll slide. I never call it out.
So, Kathryn, what do you do for a living?
They don't even know what we do for a living.
No one cares what we do for a living.
No one cares about me.
No one cares anything about this, but I'm just trying to make conversation to have things for the podcast.
I feel like there's a lot of instances where you try and make conversation where conversation is still pretty free-flowing.
Yeah.
And henceforth kill it, right?
Like me personally? Or are you just saying in general people do that? Me personally? Yeah. Yeah, no,
I
totally.
do too, absolutely.
No, like, because I feel like
you're thinking too far.
Something has to be said. And I don't want there to not be something said. So if I have in my head something to talk about.
What do you do, Kathryn?
Yeah, seriously.
Where
are you from?
I'm from Borger, but
Where are you at?
I live in which is part of DFW.
Where you at?
I'm probably gonna bleep all that. I want to protect Kathryn. I don't want weird guys like.
Oh great!
What's your address?
Yeah.
What's my address? Here, come stalk me.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I work as kind of a graphic artist / website developer / IT person. I don't really know how to explain what I do. I do a little bit of everything.
Now, is it like a firm, or are you at
the creative agency?
Pretty soft.
Okay. Because I didn't know if you were still doing any of that for a church or not.
I was doing IT for a church.
Okay.
But now I work for a creative agency. So it's a little more art and website programming than IT, but yeah.
A Christian IT person is the most lucrative job, right? Like, honestly.
Yeah, because
how many
nice
freaking churches need a young IT person?
All of them, and they don't know it.
Like, you can blow their mind just by going full screen on the PowerPoint.
Look at this, I have a server. What?
Like, I have a server too.
Honestly, anything,
and everyone's nice to
any vocation with the word Christian in front of it is a lucrative one.
It's true.
Like that Christian music, a lot of folks that go into Christian music, and this podcast with Scott we'll talk more about that, but like Christian music, a lot of folks go into Christian music because they know that they're gonna get a lot of money from that.
Really?
That demo.
Interesting.
For sure. Or they know that like if they go into Christian music, I've heard I was listening to Bad Christian and they were talking about this, that some bands they'll be kind of sent out from their church, so they're funded by their church to go out and play music.
What?
Yeah. So
sounds awesome.
Yeah. Now I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not a huge fan of like putting Christian in front of vocations.
Yeah, me neither.
I think having vocations and being a Christian is cool.
It's a good thing to put Christian in front of it.
A what?
Christian Bale.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Pretty lucrative.
Yeah.
It's pretty lucrative to be Christian Bale, yes.
Yeah, I think. But yeah, sure.
Probably touch him from like the top of his neck down to like the top of his butt.
He does have kind of a weird face.
Yeah, I don't want to look at his
honest.
face, and I feel like he'd be mad at me touching him.
He's
so
like an attractive Adrian Brody.
Whoa!
Wait, what? Adrian Brody?
Adrian Brody's an attractive everyone else. I don't care about the nose.
No. He's got a huge nose.
He does have a huge nose. You can't not care about the nose. It's half of his face.
It's true.
So scared you're about to turn that around on me, and I would have been really sad.
So how long have you been doing creative IT design, web stuff?
I started doing IT 2.5 years ago.
Jesus would be a Christian Bale, right? Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's cool.
I did some programming in college. Like I tried to get a minor in it, and I got like 2 classes away. But those senior level classes are awful. So programming and art, I've been doing, like all through college.
But you prefer more like the graphic and artistic side of it? Would you say?
I really like the mix. So, like, website programming is kind of like the holy grail.
Sure.
Because it's like half programming and half design, because you have to write the code for it, but then you're also positioning things and like deciding colors and how things are going to look aesthetically. So that's kind of the holy grail right there. I actually like the combination, but either one, like, separately is still fun.
Yeah.
But together they're awesome.
So you're into branding and logos and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and
nerd
merchandise
about it?
and stuff like that. Yeah.
I had a guy, his name's Jesse Bryan. He used to be the creative director for Mars Hill forever. And he taught in Spokane, and he had us read a crap ton of books. He had us read, what is it called? Gosh, Lee. It's Simon Sinek. He's a advertising guy. It's like talking about like why you believe things. I can't remember what the book's called.
Oh, it sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. But then he also had us read Creativity Inc., which is the story of Pixar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and talk about like how Pixar's branding and how they went through all that stuff. And so, I wasn't able to get through it, but it was apparently a really good book.
So what exactly were y'all discussing about Lord of the Rings? I'm interested in what you guys
We were discussing the differences. Because right now, okay, so I'm in the middle of reading the books. Kathryn's already read the books. We both have watched the movies and also gone through a marathon of the director's cuts in one day with each other and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, we were there for part of that.
And so we were just discussing some of the differences, mostly with characters, and how a lot of the characters in the movie were cheapened.
Yep, absolutely.
And not so much because, like, a character's always cheapened on film because you lose the thoughts that the narrator has about them,
right,
or their own inner thoughts if it's third-person omniscient. And so, like, I'm going to make omniscient my word next year. But, like, we were talking about specifically, like, Faramir.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of a pansy in the movies because of what he does in it. But he's really awesome and better than Boromir in the books because of what he does.
Like, he's purer and, like, more resistant to the ring in the books, and, like, in the movies he's kind of portrayed as, like, yeah, like a pansy. Like when Frodo and Sam run across him, he's just kind of like, yeah, okay, you know, I'm supposed to kill you guys because this is off limits territory, but whatever, like, it's fine. Like, he's kind of a pansy about it, and then he's complaining about his dad, and, you know, just like, oh, he always loved Boromir more, and he's not like that in the books at all. Like, he is the captain of the Rangers, and he's, like, a serious, like, military man, and he's still, like, more emotionally sensitive than Boromir, but he's also pure. Like, when Frodo shows him the ring, he, like, immediately is like, I don't want that.
Right.
Like, get it away from me. Please leave. Go destroy the ring. Like, we were supposed to kill you, and I was about to, but you've got the ring, and I understand that your task is important. Like, don't let me stop you, kind of thing. And in
the opposite of Boromir.
Yeah, and in the movies, he, like, gets swayed by the ring and kidnaps them and tries to, like, keep them, and it totally, it doesn't make any sense.
And the problem is like, the fact that Frodo and Sam are just, like, okayed to go through that territory, and the fact that Faramir is really dismissed by his dad are really movie cliches. Like, the main character coming into the Forbidden Lands, and then he's almost gotten killed by all small people. The leader comes in and says, no, they can pass, they're special. Like, that happens in a lot of movies. And so, like, really, like, that's the reason that kind of happens, I think. And so, yeah, we're talking about that. And
who else we were talking about?
Do you think, though, like, that, would you personally say that the Lord of the Rings films are still excellent films, though?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I can say that because I've read, most movies, I've read the books before I watch the movie. That's kind of my policy, but I did not read The Lord of the Rings until after.
Mm-hmm.
And The Lord of the Rings was one of my, like, favorite, you know, set of movies beforehand. And after I read the books, I was kind of like, well, this sucks because they changed these things, but I still, like, see them as really good movies.
Sure.
Well, we had the conversation too, and this will be something that you're more in tune with, as well as, like, we were talking about Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, and the fact that with those genres specifically, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars are the magnum opuses of fantasy and sci-fi, respectively. Like, there will
Absolutely.
never be a better sci-fi movie than Star Wars. There will never be a better fantasy movie than Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And so,
So
it's
you
really,
mean okay, like
so
okay.
like all
Series.
the movies that follow it.
Sure.
No,
Not
I'd say
series.
Okay, because like if you had
Return
to say
of the King and Empire Strikes Back
Yes, absolutely.
are the best of their genres, and it's like that's
Sure.
why people can't get into Ender's Game, and that's why people can't get into Dune or these movies. Like, and there's way more reasons than just that, but
right,
they're not even given a chance because they're already put up against the best of the genre,
yeah,
or the best that could be of the genre.
right,
And,
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
and so yeah, it's absolutely good movies, the best movies.
yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You know,
I feel like the thing like with Star Wars was that anything prior to Star Wars, like sci-fi was kind of this cheesy, kind of hard to
Yeah.
take serious
Yes.
genre, and then Star Wars came out, and even though it was considered a space opera, like it was still, it took itself so seriously
Yeah.
for what it was doing.
and thematically, it pulls from fantasy and like
Sure.
East Asian, like
that was the other thing, was that it really appeased a lot of different nerd
Right.
cultures.
Yes.
right.
And non-nerd
Sure,
cultures.
totally,
As well.
yeah,
Which
But
is
at the
why
end of the
it's so
day,
effective.
Yeah.
Star Wars became a nerd culture. Like, I think it's unfair to say
It
like
did.
it wasn't, or like it's good because it transcended it, because it absolutely is a nerd culture at this point.
Yes.
yeah.
It
But the non-nerd like audience is still gonna go see Star Wars
the
films.
non-nerd audience wasn't
Yes.
upset when they retconned all of the like book continuity, though. You
Sure.
know,
But
and
I
I feel like that's the
was.
bulk of me too. I literally just finished the Thrawn trilogy. You know,
I've been
Thrawn trilogy.
I don't
I've
know
been
what you're
reading
talking
the
about. I
Revan
didn't read the book.
trilogy.
See, I'm not that into. But I don't read books really. Period.
That's
I-
the problem. Me and Shane
yeah.
are like way too deep down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's the video games. I just start reading the books, but the fact that they got rid of the
Oh, like KOTOR and all
canonness
that.
of that. Yeah, like that's my favorite video game. Period.
Which
is
one?
Knights of
Knights
the
of
Old
the Old
Republic.
Republic.
Okay.
Period. It's amazing, and
Yeah.
it's like one of the best Star Wars.
Now,
It's
are
one of the
storylines.
best
Are
games.
the
as well.
games
Yeah.
like timeline
They were in the
wise
continuity of the books.
prior or
They-
after 4, 5, and 6?
They are several, like they're like 1,000 years prior. It's the Old
Pod
Republic.
Racers is before 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Star
yeah.
Wars Pod Racers. It's a joke.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, but it would be
Now
even
look
be
at your
prior
face
to
for the
episode-
confirmation of
But
the joke, and you didn't
here's-
give it to me. You gotta learn.
Sorry.
Give it to me, man.
Sorry.
Here's the cool thing about Knights of the Old Republic, and like that whole. There's a lot of books that go along with that too that I've started reading one of the books and delving into it, but it sets up the history for the like current movies. So like the 70s movies, you know, like there's this thing where there's a Sith Lord, and then there's the Sith Lord's like apprentice, I guess you call him. Like it's the
Yeah.
rule of two. There's always two Sith Lords, and then everyone else is like kind of the equivalent of like a Padawan. Like they're Sith acolytes, but there are only two Sith Lords, and that whole like that idea came from the Old Republic and came from like the Sith species,
Mm.
who were like, I can't believe I'm going this deep into this. I'm such a nerd.
That's
but
this podcast.
That's the point of all of this.
so the Sith species are actually like a legit species of alien that they're red skinned, they've got like these cheek tendrils that hang down, and sometimes they have horns, and they like are born with the Force. Like almost all of them have Force sensitivity,
Mhm.
and they're born with like an affinity to the dark side. So the Sith Empire was originally a species that was like
Okay.
almost completely wiped out. And like the like Sith idea, like humans that went to the dark side, or Twi'leks that went to the dark side that became Sith Lords, and like the whole rule of two and all that stuff came from the Old Republic. So the Knights of the Old Republic video games kind of like set up the Star Wars universe. Like this is why this is this way, and this is why the Jedi Council is like this, and this is why like there's the Jedi Code. It goes all the way back to like
And all of
thousands
that
years
is retconned.
before. It's all retconned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So though,
Which is really unfortunate.
Because I feel like anything prior to episode 1 you could keep.
They might. I'm not 100% sure
Like
about
I
that.
feel like the only thing that would need to justifiably be retconned for film's sake would be anything
Stuff
between
after.
6 and 7.
right. the Thrawn trilogy and whatnot.
Yes.
Although I think a Thrawn-like character will show up in the
I
new
hope
Star
so.
Wars.
I hope so. He's awesome.
More important question though. So is Darth Maul like a descendant of the Sith
No.
species because of his horns and stuff?
No, so Darth Maul is actually a completely different species. They're called Zabraks, and the reason that he is the color that he is because of tattoos. I know this is so bad. Like I'm
so
such a
turned
huge
on
Star
right
Wars
now.
nerd. Okay, but here's the thing. So with Zabraks,
You have
when
to
you
give me all these
become
books where you learn these
I
things.
wanna-
Wikipedia.
yeah, I wanna know, like,
Wikipedia.
where to
I
start
spent
with
hours
that
on
research.
Wikipedia just reading random crap and playing the video games. Like, have you ever played the Jedi Academy games?
Oh yeah.
Because those come after the movies, and there's a lot of. But anyway, Knights of the Old Republic.
Right.
The second one, there's a character who's a Zabrak, and that's how I figured all this out. But yeah, Darth Maul. The thing with him, the reason, so Zabraks can have like skin color anywhere from like kind of a grayish brown color to like red.
Wait, are those the
Um,
things that like kidnap Leia in the Thrawn trilogy?
Oh, I haven't read the Thrawn trilogy. I don't know. Maybe.
You haven't?
I know I need to. I've heard it's really good.
Huh.
But
Wasn't that the one you told me to read?
I might.
Anyway, carry on with
I
your
just heard it's good.
Zabraks.
Okay, so here's the thing. When a Zabrak becomes a
A
Sith,
Maul.
huh?
Nothing.
Did you say a Muggle?
A Maul.
Oh, when they become a Maul.
Oh, on Harry Potter.
A Muggle, yeah, I know, right? I've been listening to the audiobooks, that's why I said that. So when they become a Sith, they get these full body tattoos.
There's Harry
like
Potter audiobooks?
Heck yeah, there are.
There's like audiobooks for everything.
Audiobooks
Oh,
are just
some
about
British
everything.
guy, I don't know.
I swear if it's John
I will
Cleese or
bet you
something.
It's not John
Oh, if it
Cleese.
were John Cleese, it'd be glorious.
It is not John Cleese. That would be awesome.
Continue though. Zabraks.
I wish I could do a John
Yeah.
Cleese
Zabraks.
When
impression.
they become a Sith, they get
Blue
tattooed.
Zabraks.
He's a-
one
he's a red
Zabrak,
Zabrak.
Two Zabraks.
He's actually a half breed. It's this really complicated thing. He's the descendant. I think I might be getting this confused. I think he's the descendant of like a Zabrak, like female society of Sith people called the
Zabrak
Night Sisters.
feminists?
Kind of. But I might be getting this completely wrong. I don't
Not all
remember exactly.
Zabraks.
Sith Amazonians.
Anyway, he was born with the red
Same
with the
dick,
red
right?
skin. The black part is all tattoos. They're Sith tattoos that are
Ah.
full body tattoos.
Okay.
So where does one
Yeah.
start reading Star Wars books?
Thrawn trilogy.
Gosh, I don't-
honestly.
I
It's
honestly
the first
don't know.
books, like
There's so
first
much of
major
it.
continuity books that came out after the movies.
Oh, okay.
Is the Thrawn trilogy.
That is true.
THRAN.
THRAWN.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then I want to go back and read the Old Republic books. Those sound
You have to play the games first.
Fascinating.
Just FYI,
Okay.
play through the games and then read the books because they leave off or they start off right where the second game leaves off. So
Okay.
it starts off with Revan, he's the guy in the first Knights of the Old Republic game. My dad's laughing at me. And it starts
Just wait
off
till we
with
start talking
him.
about stuff I
Play the
like.
game first. What?
Yeah, to understand the books.
To understand books, you play games.
Yeah.
Welcome to the future, Jack.
What?
Welcome to the future.
This is why you need to play video games, Dad.
I'm just.
You
buying.
need
So you
to
can
drive
read
your
books.
digital airplane
You mean besides flying
Into Nerd
to,
City.
in
flying
Nerd
airplanes?
City. Screams from the haters. Got a nice ring to it.
Screens for
I
the
guess
haters.
every superhero needs his theme music. No one man should have all that power.
What?
Clock's ticking, I just count the hours.
I don't know what's happening.
It's Kanye West.
Oh
That's
gosh.
why I don't know.
Oh gosh. Man,
It's his
listen
best
to-
song.
listen
I've
to
not
Kid
listened.
Cudi.
I have not listened to
Don't
Kid
Yeezy.
Cudi!
Don't listen to bad rap.
I've
man.
not
bet you
listened to
like Tyler, the
Yeezy
Creator.
since
I
College Dropout.
But I
College
do like
Dropout's
Nas.
the only album I've really listened to, and honestly,
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is
Through the
actually-
Wire is the only song that I know well by Kanye, and that was
I
like his
know
first single.
too many of them verbatim.
I
But
do not like
The
that.
only like recent hip hop artist I actually listen to is Gambino,
yeah, Gambino's solid.
Oh, I haven't heard of him.
Donald Glover,
Oh,
Community, yeah,
Gotcha.
Childish Gambino.
okay. Really? I didn't know he was a rapper.
It's a really good
It's a
rapper.
Really?
legit albums
Too
Alright.
legit.
to quit.
Oh
Someone
gosh.
that doesn't play PC games, could they get into the Old Republic?
It's on the
It's not on PC though?
it is on PC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's much better on the PC because you can like it's from 2003. The first one came out in
I was about to
2003.
say.
So you can mod it to make it look somewhat modern because it's super blocky and awful. But the storyline so BioWare made it. They
Right.
also made Mass Effect.
Right.
So like Knights of the Republic is like the original Mass Effect. Like the way that they created the game is that you can make several different decisions. Every time you come to a decision point, you can go neutral, dark side, light side, or if you have like extra force points, like you have more you're more convincing like as a person, you have some extra options sometimes. But you can play the game like canon and be light side, or you can play like dark side and like kill everyone and like do all these.
I feel like
things.
a lot of the Star Wars games went that direction because I played Force Unleashed.
That was so good.
Those games are so good, and
it's very similar to that.
Yeah,
like the concept of.
I
Being
feel like Force
light side or
Unleashed
dark
was
side.
more casual though.
It was
because it was more just like a third person button masher.
Yeah, like I played it on the Wii, and it was just a whole bunch of like waving the Wii remote around
Like
and
I'm really afraid I wouldn't get
slicing
into
people.
it. You know, like I love the Star Wars movies, but that's all I know. You know, so like I don't know if it's something I could get into.
I feel like with you and me, Leanne, if you read the books and I played the games, we could be an amalgamation of a Star
Just
Wars
have
fan.
Jeremy explain the games.
Oh, I am a Star Wars fan.
And you
it's
can
just-
read the books and explain the books.
Yeah, it's just I'm not that deep. I'd love to go that deep,
Yeah.
but I never know where to start. You know.
And the games are the only bad thing about the games is that it's completely storyline carried. Like the gameplay is kind of glitchy and kind of awful, and it's not that great. The real draw to the games is storyline, so you might be able to get into it.
Yeah, which I like. Like if I'm watching Jeremy play a game, like I really got into him playing Injustice because I just liked the storyline of like, oh, where's this going? Oh, that's really cool. Like that's like other than the Lego games. Like,
Oh, those are so great.
I'll watch Jeremy play certain games and
Yeah.
just like see it. When he was playing like GTA, I was like, okay, well, what's this character doing now? And you know, like that's what I would rather know when he's playing a game. It's just like what's going on.
There you go. Just have Jeremy play it and you
Yeah,
watch.
I'll watch it.
And then you can read the books and explain them to Jeremy.
You're great.
It's like together you're one nerd.
Yep.
That's
An
awesome.
amalgamation.
An
Amalgamation of nerds.
nerds.
Yep.
So,
Gosh.
what were we saying before that? Is that
Leanne, what do you do?
Lord of the Rings, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
what
talking
about
Lord of the Rings
I
and the
don't
difference
remember.
between movies and how like the difference between the Lord of the Rings books and the movies is like almost film essentials that they had to have in the movie, like the main character getting special treatment because he's the main character and things like that.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And that's a detriment to movies. Like the thing that most people recognize is the fact that there's always a love interest where there wasn't one.
Like the
That's
Hobbit.
a Hollywood thing.
Like the
Oh,
Hobbit
gosh.
didn't need
Don't get me started.
Evangeline Lilly.
Right.
Granted.
Although everyone needs Evangeline
Granted,
Lilly
her
'cause that is
character.
a pretty lady.
I liked
Yeah.
I would like
her character,
to
but I
touch
get that
lady
because
on
she
the face.
wasn't. Huh?
She has a nice face, and I want to touch it.
Yeah, she's and as an elf, just
She's
That's
gorgeous.
fine.
She
She's
really
Kate,
is.
Is amazing.
and I don't want to see
I'm
her as
just
anything
sad.
else.
The only context I have for her is Lost, and
Exactly,
I freaking
Kate.
hated her in Lost. I just want to punch her
But
in the
she
face
was
the
a
entire
pretty
show.
lady. Let me touch the face first, please.
No.
And then punch
Please?
her. Yeah.
Oh,
But like I
Such
get
a pretty
why it was a big why it sucked that she was
Kate
there.
was not that
Yeah.
bad.
She
Okay.
was that bad.
No, she was
she
not.
was the worst.
Absolutely,
honestly.
Jack was the worst.
No.
Jack was the worst.
Kate was even worse than
Not
Jack.
you, Jack.
Why was Kate
You're
bad?
not the worst.
She was
Jack
just so
Shepherd.
Annoying. Annoying as crap.
What was she
It's like,
annoying
oh,
about?
Right, I
like,
know.
I'm
You invite us
really
into your
too
home.
hot. You're
But,
on a
like-
freaking island where
but,
people
okay,
are dying.
I
You-
haven't watched Lost.
You are in a donut shop full of delicious, delicious donuts. You like cherry donuts, but you also like maple donuts.
Wait,
The
where's
cherry
this going?
donut is pretty generic and is obviously the hero of the story.
Okay, but if
but
it's
the maple
end of
donut-
the world and I'm in this donut shop, I'm not gonna even grab a freaking donut.
You would grab a donut in the end of the world.
No,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
how do I
They're
want
on an
to?
island.
Do I want to die
Why do they-
looking at donuts, or do I want to die eating a
Who
donut?
cares
She
about your
ate her
figure
donuts.
at the end of the world.
Absolutely.
Right?
No.
I would
Kate's
eat
not
all
that
the
bad.
donuts.
Claire was worse.
But
No, I liked Claire.
Nope.
She was annoying at times. though.
Claire was
But
absolutely
she
annoying
was pregnant.
and more
her and
annoying.
Charlie were
Oh,
adorable.
pregnant people.
Oh, she was
Oh.
pregnant. See, another Hollywood thing. She drew sympathy from you because she was pregnant.
Aw,
No,
you're
she
such
was
a jerk.
less annoying because she was pregnant.
You're
Explain.
such a girl.
Like, I thought she was annoying, but I'm like, oh, she is pregnant, so if this were realistic, yeah. You're on
They're
an
all
island
on a
and you still have
freaking
the hormones of
island.
having a baby.
I would be annoying on an island. Can you imagine me on
Honestly,
an
it
island?
was after she had the
Like,
baby
let's
that
be
was
real.
annoying, because she got so paranoid and just, like, freaked out about everything.
Absolutely.
And it's like, calm down, woman. Like, it was really
Kate
after
got
the baby
better.
that she got annoying. Kate got slightly better. Like, by the very last season, I was okay with her. But
Like the last
first
real
5
season while they're still on
seasons-
the island, or the last season where they're in a parallel
The
universe?
very last season.
Okay.
Did you not like the ending?
No.
You did when we watched it.
I know, I mulled over it though. I came to terms with that ending quicker than I did with Watchmen as a whole.
I'll be back.
So.
Well, I'm talking about Lost. I don't know what's going on.
I'll say this. I watched season 1, sort of,
And then the series.
and the finale. And not knowing a lot of what happened, the finale was still really moving, and it was good. Even for not knowing everything that happened.
Did you meet Christopher Shepard in the first season?
So all of that to say, I
And
get why
then in season
Evangeline
6
Lilly
he
was
pushed
in The
him to
Hobbit.
be an ambiguous character that nobody liked.
But let's be honest. She could have been a character and just been like in love with Legolas and not have this weird love triangle with the dwarf.
Yeah.
Because that was, and then they had to kill him.
What?
Oh, you haven't seen the third movie?
No.
So
Oh, geez, you
Which-
haven't seen
I don't care.
which
The Battle of
one?
Five
Like,
Armies?
I don't.
Which one was
I
it?
don't want to.
Which one was it?
Oh,
it was
dude,
one of
it
the
was-
brothers.
Like, I will eventually, but I'm not going to watch it for the plot.
It was
Yeah.
Philly
It was.
or Killy.
It wasn't it Keely, the dark-haired one.
Yes,
I think- yeah.
Philly's gone.
So she has a love triangle.
But they both die, right?
Where Legolas, yeah,
That's
Spoiler
the only reason
alert.
I can,
where Legolas
Yeah.
loves whatever
Loves
her name
Feely.
is. No.
Is it Toriel? Is that her
There's
name?
this gay love story.
Tariel.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tariel.
Tariel. So Legolas loves Tariel, but Tariel is in love with Keely, and Keely's in love with Tariel. But then,
Is it Tariel?
spoiler alert, she's the elf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, Keely dies, and then Tariel is heartbroken. Doesn't she die too? I think she
No.
dies. No?
She goes back with Legolas.
Oh, well, that's depressing.
Which I thought
We
they would.
thought she
I thought they
died.
would kill her because it would make sense for
For the
her
rest
to
of the
die in that
movies.
movie because she's
Yeah.
not in the Lord of the
That's
Rings
when
films.
she like fell and we're like, oh, I bet she died. And she
Yeah.
didn't.
Right.
See, that's for me, like,
But see,
'cause I watched
Keely
the
was
first-
going to die anyway.
Right. Like,
No,
I
Feely
watched-
was going to die.
Okay.
I watched the
And Feely
first
did
two-
die.
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 movies before I read the book. After the second movie, I'm like, I have to read the book.
Nice.
I can't wait.
It's
to
a really
read
easy read, honestly.
Yeah,
It
and so
is.
and since I'd heard that, I was like, yeah, I'll just read it. So I read it like a few days.
Yeah, Jeremy.
And so I knew that, Philly and Killy both died. And so I was like, okay, so trying to figure out like where they're going with it, with Tariel being in love with him. In the second movie where they kind of you feel it leading to that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, so maybe like because of her death, maybe, Philly becomes and whatever, like tries to save her, he dies, and then Killy dies somewhere else, whatever. But then it just felt like, now it's like, to me, I feel like someone needs to be in something. If they add it from a book, it has to be for a purpose. And I felt like
Yeah.
her purpose did not work. I thought maybe it'd lead Legolas to something. If she died,
To Aragorn.
something would happen with Legolas, and
That'd be
leads him
awesome.
away from the Wood Elves,
Mhm.
making
Instead
him
of
someone
just-
that's with the Fellowship.
Right.
Yeah, okay. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't get why.
She's an unnecessary character.
Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the argument.
That's the
Hot
only
take.
thing where I'll say that I feel like episodes 1 through 3 of Star Wars tied better to 4, 5, and 6 than the Hobbits
I
things
agree
tied
with
to
that.
Lord of the Rings.
As horrible as that sounds, I totally agree with that.
The
Because
Hobbit films
here's-
were by far better films,
Yes.
but
It's an invalid argument because 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars are ambiguous on purpose. You don't know a lot about Vader. You don't know a lot about Boba Fett. You don't know a lot about Solo. Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings has huge lore.
It is very
It's
specific.
steeped in lore, and the movies are steeped in lore. Go back and watch the movies; they reference names
yeah.
They
of
do,
things
that
in
are
the
in
Silmarillion
the
or in the
books.
Hobbit.
Yeah. that are only in
Gandalf
the
talks about the
books.
trolls. Like
Mhm.
the Lord of the Rings is steeped in continuity, more or less.
Sure.
And where Lord of the Ring or the other
Star Wars.
ones, Star Wars, were ambiguous, and so then they go back and ruin Boba Fett and they ruin Darth Vader, and they luckily didn't ruin Han Solo, but they will with his Solo series of films.
Probably.
So
I
that's
just
the
feel
difference. I
like-
think it's
Is
they-
Chris Pratt going to be the young Han
Oh
Solo?
my gosh.
Oh
I
gosh.
just feel like
Hold
Peter
on.
Jackson tried
Have
too
we?
hard
No, we haven't.
to make like, oh, The Hobbit has to connect to Lord of the Rings somehow, where the book didn't. Honestly, it did not, except the fact that Bilbo is the uncle to Frodo. Like, that's really it. Like, and Gandalf, of course. Like, he's
Okay,
in
but
it.
it did.
that
Really did.
Like, in the books it does, or
In the books,
movies?
in the books. So
I
here's
haven't
the
read the Lord of the Rings
here's the
books, I've
problem
just read
with
The
Lord of the
Hobbit.
Rings books is that you have to read like the entire lore to really understand it. Like you have to go back and read the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales of Middle Earth and the Children of Hurin, which I love because I love mythology, but most
Right.
people can't handle that. You have to go back and you have to read all of
Sure.
that to understand the full context of the movies.
I don't
like
read
why...
any books. Like that's the
Exactly.
thing.
Which is what
yeah.
I want to do. Once I read the Lord of the Rings
You
trilogy,
absolutely
I
should.
want to read all all
Yes.
the other stuff around it because I'm gonna want to
Read
know that.
read the stuff around it first. Read
No.
the Silmarillion. Yeah,
No.
yeah, and Unfinished Tales and
No.
Yeah, because you understand.
Well,
it
all
so
of that
much
was
better.
post Lord of the Rings,
No.
though.
Okay, listen.
Yes.
So they weren't
Watch
like
Lord of the Rings
necessarily
first.
intended
Okay,
to be known.
Here's the thing, though. Tolkien wrote down the entire, like, he had all these notes and everything that he referenced when he wrote Lord of the Rings that eventually became the Silmarillion.
Right.
And so he'll reference things, like, he'll reference names and characters and, like, events that happened in Lord of the Rings that he hasn't written about yet in the Silmarillion.
But you don't lose the story.
Well,
I
you-
absolutely think you should read Lord
Okay.
of the Rings because it's the one that was first released.
But so,
I suppose.
like, as far as Hobbit tying to just Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
for just common folks that wouldn't read the lore, where's the indicator of them tying in?
Let's see.
The movies or the books?
The
The
books.
books.
Because
See, that's the thing,
There's
like,
this
who's to
ring
say-
like to the
in The
Hobbit,
Hobbit
but
that
seen
shows
the
up
movies
in Lord of the Rings.
Sure, yeah.
So,
But who, like, because who's to say that? Did Tolkien intend on releasing all of that lore?
I don't know if he did.
So
And he did write The Hobbit first.
He did write The Hobbit first and didn't know about the ring when he was writing The Hobbit.
To be fair, yeah.
He went back and established the ring
Yeah.
later.
But I guess it's kind of subtle, like, I think that the part that really ties it together is Gandalf.
Right.
Because he knows, like, it's pretty obvious that he knows Bilbo has the ring. Even
Right.
though Bilbo lies about it and, tells him some silly story about how he escaped the cave, he knows that Bilbo has the ring. And I think that is the point where he started to become suspicious about Sauron coming back.
Well, okay, didn't Gandalf, Saruman, and the weird one that was smoking...
Radagast.
Radagast. Weren't they specifically commissioned by the god of that universe? Like, they have a purpose,
Yes.
right?
So they're technically angels.
Right,
in
but they're
the-
different than, like,
Is
the
that
rest
in
of
the
the
Silmarillion?
angels.
Right, they're like
Right.
lower
That
angels.
part
Yes.
of The Hobbit, like when
So they're
all
like-
fighting.
There's God who made the world of Middle Earth.
Right.
There's the angels that are in charge of taking care of Middle Earth, and one of the angels made the dwarves. And
He made the dwarves and the Ents.
Melkor.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he make? Yeah, he did make the Ents. Melkor is one of the angels who's basically Satan, and he broke off and like took his own faction of angels with him.
And he
And
made the orcs
Sauron-
because he couldn't make somebody as perfect as the elves, right?
Right. He tried to make his own race, but it was
Because
it
God
was-
favored the elves and the humans.
Yes. Yeah. Because they were his children. The dwarves were not his children, they were made by the angels. But so Melkor was one of the angels that broke off and like did his own thing. And Sauron is one of his underlings, like the guy that made
Right.
the ring. And so he broke off. There was this big war between the angels and Melkor whenever like the humans and the angels the humans and the elves were still really young. And then afterwards they chained Melkor and sent him away to angel prison or whatever. And they sent the
That's what it says in the Silmarillion.
yeah, word
Angel
for word.
prison or whatever.
Angel prison or whatever. And they thought they defeated them. Oh my gosh. And they send Gandalf and the other wizards, they're like lower angels, and they send them to watch over the humans and the elves.
Right.
And Sauron is also one of the lower angels. I think he's a little bit above the wizards. He's
Yeah.
there's like 3 tiers. There's the Valar, which are the highest angels. Like there's I think like 12 of them or something. There's the Ainur, I think. And then there's the Istari, which are the wizards.
Yeah.
Where would Galadriel fall in that?
Galadriel's an elf. So
Okay,
Galadriel is one of the first elves that was ever made. So she's super old. Elrond is a descendant of Galadriel, actually.
Right. And then Celeborn, though, right?
Yeah, Celeborn. He's her husband.
Right.
Yes.
So he's probably old.
So Elrond's old, but he's not nearly as old as Galadriel. Galadriel's like the oldest elf in the Lord of the Rings series.
There are a lot of things
So
right
that's why
now
she's
happening
so
in my
wise,
brain.
like, talk to you or whatever.
Like,
Yeah,
I wish I read
seriously,
books.
she has like special powers.
Right.
Because here's the thing about the elves. You know how in the Lord of the Rings movies they say the elves are diminishing? Like Galadriel says that when she like gets tempted by the ring, she says like our time is
the age of magic.
Yeah, the age of the elves is leaving and the age of the humans is coming or something like that. It's because the elves originally were like pure and they rebelled against the angels and like tried to make their own power. And
They created all the rings.
No, that was before the rings. They created the Silmarils, which is the basis of the Silmarillion. They're like these jewels that are just really precious. And I think it was Melkor that convinced him. Yeah, Melkor convinced him to make it. So it's like a parallel to Sauron. Like before Sauron, this other angel that was higher up convinced him to make the Silmarils, which are like the ring, kind of. And they got really greedy and rebelled against the angels. And the angels punished them by banishing from their land. So that's why they came to Middle-earth, is because they were banished.
Got it.
And so Galadriel's one of the original elves that was like involved in the rebellion, and she survived the like crossing over to Middle-earth. And that's why she's so powerful, is because just like, you know, how the elves are diminishing, like as they have more and more children, they're becoming less and less powerful. And the humans are becoming more powerful. So, it's a really complicated thing.
What was the original question?
I don't even know.
How
they tie?
How did the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings tie together? Gandalf.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the biggest story.
That's hilarious.
In conclusion. Well, it wasn't Sauron involved in The Hobbit too?
I mean,
kind of. There was a meeting of the Wizard Council, wasn't there? And they didn't know he was evil yet.
Are you thinking about Sauron or
Saruman.
Saruman?
Sorry, Saruman.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
names are so similar.
No, I don't think I was in the book.
That wasn't in the book. That's why I was asking if that was in the Silmarillion.
I guess that was the beginning
it
of
wasn't in the book.
Oh.
It must have been the Silmarillion.
Yeah. Because you just see, like, I just assumed, like, because Gandalf leaves, and then they keep going, and I'm like, well, I'm assuming at that point Gandalf is doing something else, but that's probably in the Silmarillion or somewhere else, you know.
I think at some point in either The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, they have, I think maybe it's The Lord of the Rings, the first one, where they have like a wizard summit, and they don't realize that Sauron.
Oh yeah, that's
evil.
absolutely after the
Yeah, they don't realize he's evil yet, and then after that, that's when Saruman imprisons him in his tower.
Yeah.
Right.
And he gets saved by the Eagles.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, sorry, that was later.
The Eagles are
the
also a
Eagles
tie.
are in both.
Right.
Bilbo's in both.
But they weren't in the movie. They didn't have the Eagles in the movie.
And then there's the whole elf versus dwarf racism that gets like that, you know, like the whole Legolas Gimli thing in the Lord of the Rings kind of solves that. It's kind of sweet. Because the elves in The Hobbit are giant jerks.
Well, the one elf.
Thorondul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thorondul
he's a huge racist
pretty
jerk. He is a pretty jerk.
A very pretty jerk.
Gorgeous long blonde hair. He rides
Gorgeous
a moose.
face on a touch.
Wait, what?
I'd touch Lee Pace's face. He's an attractive man.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, I forgot.
Aren't all
That
elves,
Ronan
like,
was-
kind of just naturally that's their
Yeah,
race?
but I feel
Yeah,
like
they're all
there were a lot
beautiful.
of people cast as elves that were not that pretty.
Like
the one
Jermaine
that you
from-
like.
Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. Oh, Haldir? You don't think he's attractive?
Jermaine was an elf?
Jermaine Clement was an elf.
Yes, he was in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Okay, so in The Hobbit, when the dwarves arrive at Thranduil's... Oh, wait, no, when they go to Elrond's place in Rivendell, you know the elf that greets them?
Uh-huh.
Jermaine.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not
Look
have a
up a
reason to go
picture.
back and watch The Hobbit.
He's also in Lord of the Rings. I think he's in Fellowship of the Ring. He's one of, like, Elrond's attendants. I
That's
can't remember his name.
fantastic.
He has, Fioranwi or something
Jermanuel.
like that. Jermanuel. He doesn't have a beard, so it throws you off. Like,
That's-
beard,
That's, yeah.
no beard, long elvish hair. He doesn't, yeah.
Huh.
that's kind of his signature look.
Yeah.
So when he
He's
doesn't
an elf.
have it, it's kind of.
He looks like a teenager without his beard, to be fair.
Don't we all?
I feel like folks that you get used to seeing them with the beard, when it's gone, they don't look. They tend to lose, 5-10 years.
Yes, that's true.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, that's true.
Chris Evans just gains. Chris Evans is timeless. Beard or no
He
beard.
is. He really is. He always looks
He's
like
a
he's
pretty
25.
Who is?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. I touched more than his face. I touched his neck.
I
his shoulders.
really, I
Just his
honestly
neck.
like it better when he
And
has
his
facial
shoulders.
hair. I really
Nothing
like
else?
that.
Face, neck, shoulders. Just a nice smooth motion.
Okay.
I'm just. There you are. You're very pretty. I hope you don't mind.
You just want to touch his silhouette.
I do. That'd be great. Yeah.
It's the only picture I can find, and I don't think
Oh,
that's
sorry,
him.
it's Brett, not Jermaine. I'm
Oh,
an
okay,
idiot.
I'm like, this is
That's
the
what I was
only
thinking. I was like, I
picture-
can totally
sorry.
recognize
I'm
Jermaine.
sorry.
That is not him. That's not him.
It's Brett. It's Brett.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that
But
is.
still, it doesn't, like, it's
Is it his
trippy.
brother?
No,
or
that's
something?
him.
No, it's the flight of
That's
Brett?
the skinny guy.
Yeah, it's
Not the big mouth guy.
Oh,
the
it's
other
just
one.
the other flight.
the guy with curly hair and, yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't.
If
I
you want me
I wouldn't
to-
recognize him. I only.
I could hang around with you if I'm reading.
The thing
That
about
was
Lord of the
what
Rings
you
I thought was
into.
interesting from what I get of the books and in the films is it seems to be one of the few books that, like, it's
Doing
like
you.
metaphors
On the food.
for like spirituality
Absolutely.
are so subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Where like Lewis's books were very obvious.
Very obvious.
But like Tolkien's weren't, and both are equally, I think, good.
Yeah.
But I thought that was just from seeing the films. When I first saw them, I didn't see them. But as people we've like over the years talked more about the movies and the books, it was just really cool. I like when books do that, or really any sort of media does that. I think that's why I liked Man of Steel so much, even though it was like
Yeah.
a blatantly obvious Jesus
Yeah.
illusion. I was okay with it because I like things like that. So,
Yes.
I know Shane is rolling his eyes into the back of his
What
head
are
just in
angels?
case. What?
Like angels.
They're angels.
What are they?
They're
Where'd they come from?
They're created beings.
created. Yeah,
they're
they're
created.
Before or after
They're
us?
servants of God. They're
Would-
before us.
would you?
Before.
So would you say like okay?
Where are they in Genesis?
They're in Genesis.
Yeah, they're in the heavens with God.
So when it says God created the heavens, that includes angels?
Sure, yeah. I think when you look in
So
Daniel,
absolutely they should be jealous.
like Daniel
Then when you
Daniel
get
goes
name
more
drops.
into depth of where
Yeah.
the origin of angels. Daniel's where
right,
you get a
and
lot
you
of
have
that.
Lucifer.
It's
Yeah,
not so
Daniel
much
talks
in
about the fall of
Genesis.
Lucifer and things
I
like
did
that.
not know where
They
that
have
was.
Different
Yeah.
roles and.
It's not so much in Genesis. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're
more about
just-
humans.
They're created to glorify God.
Solid.
Would elves and humans be would elves be like an angels to, or would you say that
Would
No.
elves be Old Testament humans?
like would
No.
elves be Jews
there
where
already
humans are
are
Gentiles?
angels.
Elves.
Ah.
Okay, I would say the elves are more like Adam and Eve, but an entire race.
Sure.
Because they are technically fallen. But
I'm gonna write Daniel, and I'm not gonna know what it means.
so elves were created first, and they were created in like basically like the Garden of Eden. It's this area called Valinor,
Mm.
and when they're sent to Middle Earth, like you know
Like where
how
Thor goes.
yeah. You know how Galadriel says we'll pass and go into the west?
Right.
Mm.
What she means is they're going to sail back to Valinor. But
Oh.
Valinor is only open to people that the angels allow back in.
Okay.
So you have to like kind of earn your way back into Valinor after they kick the elves out.
So is that why they fight in the Battle of Men?
Yeah.
That's their reasoning, is so they're worthy to go back to Valinor?
Like in order to go back to Valinor, like Galadriel specifically had to resist the ring in order to be worthy to go back to Valinor. And so Valinor is like
Is that what the glass is?
this-
Is it telling them, like, where their fate lies with Valinor? Like, when they look into the...
no, it's different for everyone.
Okay.
It's like possible futures kind of thing.
Hobbits are Gentiles, right? The men are Jews.
I think the
and
hobbits
Gentiles?
are. I don't really know how to describe the hobbits. It's not a one for one thing. I think the humans are more.
It
like
has to be.
The humans are more like Gentiles.
Humans are dwarves.
The
humans are
humans.
dwarves?
Okay, no, like humans
Oh.
or
Or
dwarves.
It's kind of hard because,
Again,
Okay,
that's like where
so, like-
Tolkien's subtle, like his subtle.
Mhm.
It's not like
So, like,
obvious things.
Right.
I would
You
say
can
that
pigeonhole.
the humans are like Gentiles. The dwarves are more like Samaritans because
Sure. Okay.
because the elves are like Jews and they hate the Samaritans, the
Okay.
dwarves. That kind of dynamic.
Sure.
Because the dwarves were made by one of the angels and not by God, so they're kind of considered lesser, and that's why the elves hate them.
Okay.
But yeah, the elves, like, kind of got kicked out of the Garden of Eden and have to kind of earn their way back. And the Garden of Eden, Valinor, is like, you can live forever in peace. Like, there's no war, there's no famine, there's no poverty, it's gorgeous, but only the elves can live there. But also, Frodo
I was gonna say,
is...
isn't that where Frodo and
Yes.
Sam leave to, right?
Yes, because they're granted, like, the right to live there in peace because they got rid of the ring.
Okay.
But, like, it kind of gets complicated because, like, Elrond is only half elven, but he's still allowed in. But also Aragorn is an elvish descendant. Like, he's kind of like 60-40, like human elf or something like that. So, but he's not allowed in Valinor. It's really complicated. And then, like, Elrond's children are allowed to choose whether they want to be humans or elves. It's like a conscious decision because their dad was half elven. So, like, Elrond's brother chose to be a human, basically, and he lived out, like, a human lifespan and died, and then he went to human heaven, which is, it's so weird. Like, in Lord of the Rings, there's a separate, like, there's an elvish heaven and a human heaven. So, like, Arwen choosing to be with Aragorn is, like, this huge, like, in the books, it's, like, this huge decision, because she's choosing, when she dies as a human, to go to human heaven with Aragorn, rather than go to Valinor and live out for eternity in peace with her family.
So is there war in human heaven?
No, it's heaven.
Okay.
Yeah, and Elvish heaven, like, the weird thing about Elvish heaven is, like, you're kind of not dead in Elvish heaven. Like, people can still come hang out with you. Yeah, it's really weird.
Just makes me think of.
It's really weird. I don't know where dwarves go when they die, or hobbits. They don't really explain that. I think hobbits are kind of like they are a subset of humans. So they're not like a completely separate species like dwarves are. They're a subset,
Well,
and they don't
'cause
really
they're
explain
called-
where they come from.
In other lore, they're called halflings.
Right.
So. that
So
would
they're
make
like
sense.
short people,
Sure.
kind of. Yeah.
Right.
They're dwarves.
Could they be an amalgamation of humans and dwarves?
They are not. I don't think
I just wanted to say amalgamation.
Solid. This
There
conversation is an
there's like
amalgamation of
oh gosh,
interesting topics.
there is like interbreeding between
That's going to be the title of this episode. An
amalgamation of
amalgamation of
topics.
interesting topics.
It's totally true.
AKA 40 minutes bits.
It's really become just like a Star Wars Lord of the Rings thing.
I mean, that's what happens when you ask me to be on the
I was-
podcast.
I was
The
about
We're going
epitome
to
of
talk about
sci-fi
Star Wars.
fantasy.
I feel like
and
And
with
I'm gonna
Kathryn-
ask questions because I like both of them and don't know as
Yeah.
much, so
The
I don't
only
care
the
if I
only
look
other
like an
thing that
idiot.
could
I just
happen
wanna
is if
know.
Oscar were here.
We
we'd
talk
end up
about
talking
video
PC.
games.
Oscar genuinely
Which is what we
knows
did
quite a
earlier
bit
today.
about Lord of the Rings lore.
He what?
He knows a lot about Lord of the Rings lore.
Really? Why
The
have we
stuff
not
that I
talked
was
about
mentioning
this?
about the
Seth Rogen
angels
and James
got from
Franco.
Oscar.
What?
Dang. I need to talk to him.
Seth Rogen and James Franco.
Nice. Nice.
Super
Or Stephen Colbert. Have y'all ever seen those interviews?
Wasn't it Stephen
Yes.
and James
Yes.
Franco that like were
He's
talking
such a nerd
long
about
time
it.
about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
They had like a competition or something.
Isn't
and
that
James
why
Franco
Colbert was
won.
put in? Why he got a cameo in Hobbit? Because
Yes.
he's such a huge
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings fan.
Absolutely. Because he, like, bested someone on his show with Lord of the
It was
Rings.
James Franco.
Yeah, it was James
Yeah.
Franco. He's
Oh,
asking
yeah.
him like
They did
one
it.
of something, probably one of the 12,
He was talking
and
about
I
the
think
angels.
he named off all of them.
I couldn't
And
even
at the end,
do
he's
that.
like, "You come into my house."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could do that. I could name maybe 4 of
Yeah, I
them.
couldn't talk to James Franco.
Wait, what?
Like, really?
Do you just want to touch his face?
No, like
Do
he's
you
just
think
a
he
pretty.
wants
No, I'm not gonna name drop. But no, I'm not. Like, oh, but the other Franco.
Dave.
Yeah, I was gonna say Casey Franco, but that's Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
Dave Franco.
Okay, Kathryn. If you had to pick, I feel like I already know it. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
This is an easy one.
Yeah.
Very easy. Definitely Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I love like Greek and Roman mythology.
Sure.
And the Silmarillion and all that stuff is like 100% that style. Like each chapter is a different time period, a different set of characters, and it's like a short story that's like just like mythology from Greek and Roman times. So, and it's like, for me, Star Wars is awesome, but Lord of the Rings is almost more of a complete world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because with Star Wars, there's tons of different authors. Like, each book series is written by a different guy. The movies are all done by different people. The video games are all done by different people. There's so much input that there's not, like, there's a lot of complexity without it all being, like, level, I guess.
Sure.
And Lord of the Rings was written by one dude.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he had, like, a complete picture for how everything was going to go. Like, even though he wrote the Silmarillion after the Lord of the Rings, he still referenced the Silmarillion before he even wrote it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
he
definitely
was
pick Lord of the
smart.
Rings. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of that stuff was published after his death. Like, his son
Yeah.
gathered a bunch of notes. Like, I think the Unfinished Tales of Numenor
Mm-hmm.
is notes that his son gathered after Tolkien died and published this book that was just a bunch of his dad's notes.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, this guy wrote, like, an entire universe down. Like, he made up the Elvish language.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
nuts.
that's insane.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. I would definitely pick Lord of the Rings.
Who played Tolkien in the Anthony Hopkins C.S. Lewis film? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
I haven't seen it.
It was someone known, I thought.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting Anthony Hopkins played C.S. Lewis in a film.
It is interesting. I need
Yeah.
to see that.
What is it called?
I do not remember.
Wasn't that recent? I feel like that was in the last few years.
No.
No? Was it
It's like the
older one?
80s, I think.
Are they making a new one then?
They are making a new
Okay,
C.S.
that's
Lewis
what I'm
film.
thinking of.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
See, and I really want to... That's the thing, is I really want to read books because there's so many Lewis books that I want to read through.
Yes.
Like, I want to read the Screwtape Letters.
So good.
And I've started Mere Christianity, like,
So good.
4 times. And
Yeah.
I've gotten through it.
That's hard to get
But
through.
it is a hard book to get
Mhm.
through. And just... I would love to be able to read... Leanne has all the Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
And I'd love to go through those, and it's just fiction books are really hard for me to read through.
Really? That's interesting.
I don't know why. Like, I could read every one of Donald Miller's books
Yeah.
easily. You know, anything nonfiction, memoirs, things like that.
That's
biographies.
interesting.
But like fiction, it's weird.
If you like sci-fi, like a big thing most people don't realize about C.S. Lewis is that he wrote a sci-fi trilogy.
Yeah, Jack was telling me. You were telling me about that in
yeah.
India.
Yeah, he's the one that got me to
Yeah.
read it. It's
yeah.
like, okay, I've read Chronicles of Narnia like once a year since I was like 5, probably, you know.
Yeah.
But his space trilogy, it's not really something you understand until you're an adult.
Sure.
But you like the like kind of one for one, like you know, Christ kind of thing within fiction.
Mhm.
You would love the space trilogy because
Cool.
it's totally
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like, especially the second one is about this guy that goes to another planet, and basically there's a new Adam and Eve, and it's like it's like the creation story told in a different context.
Sure.
You know, and like the story of Adam and Eve being tempted,
Mhm.
but there's this human that's kind of witnessing all of it and trying to fight against Satan. It's really good.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
It is good.
probably my favorite C.S. Lewis series, and that's saying a lot because Chronicles of Narnia is really far up there, for sure. It's good stuff.
So there's a book released after Lion and the Witch in the Wardrobe that's set before Lion and the Witch in the Wardrobe?
Mm-hmm. The Magician's Nephew.
Yes.
Yes, it's it explains how Narnia is how Narnia is in the wardrobe.
Is it the Silmarillion of Narnia?
It doesn't really explain the origin of Narnia necessarily. There are actually a couple books that happened before. The Magician's Nephew and The Horse and His Boy both happened beforehand. The Horse and His Boy explain how the country of Narnia came to be, because Narnia is not a universe, it's actually a country on a world, and there are other countries that don't actually influence, like, Prince Caspian, or actually they do kind of influence Prince Caspian because he's actually from a different country, Prince Caspian, the leader of Narnia. Anyway, Magician's Nephew just kind of explains how these, like, portals into other worlds kind of came into being and how humans discovered them. But it doesn't really explain the origin of Narnia. But I think I think that
The horse
and his boy kind of goes a little bit more into how Narnia became its own country, and it's kind of this war between Narnia and all the animals and stuff, and this other country that's a bunch of humans. It's really interesting.
So Tolkien's way better at titling his books then. Is that fair? Like The Horse and His Boy.
That's totally fair.
Like, what books explain the universe? Oh, the Silmarillion and The Horse and His Boy.
Yeah. The Magician's Nephew.
The Magician's Nephew.
Which doesn't explain the book at all. Yep.
So does Narnia exist in our universe then? You say it's not another universe.
It is kind of a parallel universe, but here's the cool thing. The last book in the Chronicles of Narnia explains, spoiler alert, that everyone, like, there's a Jesus parallel in every universe, or every whatever it is, whatever Narnia is. Like, Aslan is the Jesus parallel for Narnia.
Right.
And everyone who believes in Aslan and Narnia goes to the same heaven that people on Earth who believe in Jesus do. Which is really cool.
That's
because
cool.
Are y'all okay if I spoil the last book?
I've read
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to get through it.
In the last book, some of the Pevensey children die, but they're in Narnia when they die.
Who they are.
Oh, that's the 4 children that go to
That's
Narnia.
great. Now we know who they are.
So some of them die while they're on Earth in a train wreck. Some of them die in Narnia, and they go to the same heaven. It's really cool.
Does that bad one ever be good?
Do what?
Edmund?
Yeah.
Oh, Edmund, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. I'll just leave it at that. You need to read The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
That's a
Figure it out.
Narnia thing?
It is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard that title everywhere.
That is
What's the
the...
film?
Was that the third?
the third film.
Yeah, they did
Yeah,
Prince
they had-
Caspian and then
Yeah,
the
so Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, Voyage of
That's
the
a
Dawn
good
Treader.
title.
I would
Where was
recommend...
that in the beginning?
I know. There are other ones, aren't there? There's the Silver Chair, the Last Battle,
No, lost me.
Magician's Nephew. I can't remember all of them.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Horse and His Boy. Yeah, that's probably the only actual good title, is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Dreadnought. Like, that's probably, like, the best word, right? Dreadnought?
It is a good word.
Like, the most intimidating word.
So does that mean that Aslan is just...
Because Brock Lesnar is 2 words.
What?
Anyway.
Aslan, so like, if they go to the same heaven, does that mean that God is just... He's still Trinity, but he... Not to get, like... If it's not, like... Not like modalism or anything, but he... His earthly form... Like, Aslan and Jesus are the same person.
Yes.
Like, they would think they know of the same things. Like,
Yes.
they're not, like... Aslan and Jesus don't hang out with each other.
Right.
They're the same thing, just in a different world.
They are.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we went an hour, which is cool. It's always good, so... Thanks to Kathryn for being on an episode.
The Good Dinosaur
Nice.
looks awesome.
The Good Dinosaur. Hey, Oscar's here.
The new Pixar movie.
Oh, I haven't
Mm,
seen
Coming
it
Inside
out
yet.
this year. There's a trailer.
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah, the one about emotions in your head.
The Good Dinosaur. I,
I
feel
think-
like I've seen that.
I think there's 2.
There's 2.
Honestly. I
I've
think
seen the
there's
trailer
2.
for Good Dinosaur.
For what?
I don't,
Good
The
think,
Good
Dinosaur?
Dinosaur.
I've heard of it.
I don't think that's this year.
Good input. Hey, you missed the giant Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
discussion.
We were talking about the angels and stuff, and
He
I
told me
let
that
in
you
that
know
you
about
were
the
the one
angels.
that, like, showed me
The CGI
about all that
grade.
stuff. Yeah.
We
Have you
talked.
seen it?
We talked. Huh?
No, she's read the Silmarillion.
I've read the books.
Oh, well, then.
We talked all about, like, all the, like, Oh wait, are you talking about the Lord of the Rings explained videos?
Yeah, some guy
Yeah.
is doing. He did 2 of them.
Those are really good if you don't read the books because they explain the angels and all that stuff. No, I have hardcore read the books like at least 5 times, so.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
maybe a
I
little
mean,
How
bit.
at every podcast we've done so far that Oscar's not in, he appears at the end somehow, whether on the phone or he shows
Oh yeah,
up.
you have called a couple of times and I put you
Yeah.
on.
Oh, have you?
You've been on
Yeah.
speaker in like 2 of our episodes
Oh,
on your
okay.
phone.
That's awesome.
Now I'm nervous when I make calls.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, well, I think that's good. So thanks again, Kathryn, for being on our podcast.
You're welcome.
It was super fun. And Jake,
Thank you for having me.
Jake decided, I don't know if you just kind of caught him. Yeah, he's not coming.
Okay.
He said, he's going to stay home.
Okay.
So I was like, what? He's like, is there anything going on this week? And I was like, well, Kathryn, you leave like tomorrow. Yeah, so Kathryn wouldn't be here. He's like, well, and he said, okay, well, I guess I'll have to catch her the next time she's in town. So next time you're in town, we'll definitely do something.
Heck yeah.
And I feel like this is probably one of the. I really liked this episode. It was fun.
Me too.
It was good.
So, because I think it's like Leanne's nerdy for sure, but I feel like us 3 are like
Whole nother level.
nerdy.
Exactly.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I'm about to get there. I
So-
just got a bunch of ammo.
Yeah.
Lee's
Like-
gonna go read the Silmarillion and then she's gonna be like, bam,
I'm a
knowledge.
little offended because I just got singled out.
Because like Oscar, when Oscar, Shane, and I are recording, Oscar just seems to like not care about the things that we bring up sometimes.
Half the time I genuinely don't care about.
All right, thanks for listening.
That's all you
Dang
need.
it! Thanks for watching us
With your ears.
ears.
Be kind, be brave.
Woo! That was a lot of things, wasn't it? Sorry I wooed in your ear. That's probably not very comfortable. So, what'd you think? And again, I'm asking, what did you think? I didn't realize there was all of that stuff, and now my wife has, she's been reading now. We recorded this episode a while back, and she's just now finishing. She's in the middle of the first book of Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. She's in the middle of that one. And telling me a lot of things I didn't realize. So we actually, a few days ago, bought the Blu-ray DVDs. We're like, man, we really want to watch Lord of the Rings. And so, and then just yesterday, we were watching, I was playing the Star Wars game at this amusement park, and made me want to watch Star Wars. There's all these amazing, like, epics that aren't superhero movies, and they're really, really good. Not that superhero movies are bad. I love them. But there's these really awesome just fantasy sci-fi kind of cool things that we can get into or forget about. And so my question, just to kind of get some conversation, if you made it this far into the podcast, it's a kind of a long one. Most of them have been long, but my question is the same I gave to Kathryn. If you had to pick between Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, what would you pick? And don't you dare freaking say Harry Potter. You Harry Potter freaks need to get out of here. We don't want your kind around here. I'm just kidding. I'm being really mean today. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you had to pick Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, which would you pick? And we hope you enjoyed this episode. Keep listening. Like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, then and you're on SoundCloud, leave comments, subscribe, share with people. Dude, it'd be awesome. So we'll catch you on the next episode. And thanks again. So we'll catch you around. Boom. Did it.